podcast is intended for listeners over the age of 19 in Ontario, and we ask that you respect your local militia-style laws regarding cannabis and its cultivation.
Be sure to like, download, follow, subscribe, and of course, share with all your friends. If you haven't done those things, I don't know what you've been doing with your time over the last 3 seasons.
Right, because it's season 4. Hi, ladies.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, Annie.
Hi, Amanda.
We're back.
Woo woo.
Can you believe this is the beginning of season 4?
No.
If we had have thought about, seasons at the beginning, I would have called BS.
Oh, yeah.
And, no way, this is not going to be a thing. It's
Yeah.
just going to be something to do for a little while. Nope, this is a thing. We are here to stay.
Year 2, season 4, my head explodes.
Right?
And actually, just today we were asked, did you see this, taking on the momentum and the energy and what it's become? No. No. I think
not.
It was no offense, but it was a lark.
Yeah.
And the lark has flown, and here we are.
Right?
The lark has legs.
Oh, my gosh. Well, when you, listeners, hear this episode, it's going to be the 19th of April, which means that tomorrow is 420, which is the cannabis Christmas
Yes, it's
extravaganza.
420 Eve.
Oh, I wonder if we put our shoes out.
And the reefers were hung by the chimney with care.
Oh my goodness, we need to rewrite it.
Oh my God. Next 420.
Next 420. All right, but new things have been happening. We've been away and out of the hotbox for a few weeks. What's new?
For me, nothing, and as I always say, that's wonderful. This is my favorite time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Every ledge, shelf, corner in my house has seedlings started,
Yep.
all at different rates. I've got grow lights in every corner. My cherry tomatoes that I started from seed months ago are up to my ceiling in my laundry room. It's like I go and do some laundry and eat a tomato. I just feel so blessed.
Well, I think my favorite thing about your tomatoes in the laundry room was how diligently you have been pollinating your flowers, only to find out
That they're self-pollinating?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I added wind. I put a fan in there. I'm always upgrading. But I love the idea of spring, of all the possibilities.
That's right.
I've done seeds from, plants from seed many, many times. So
Yeah.
I know later in the season, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Yep.
But it's beautiful watching things sprout.
Isn't it? I've been loving. I got my first hosta sprouting out of the ground,
Ooh.
so I'm thrilled to see that.
What color hostas do you have?
I have purple hostas and I have white hostas.
I used to have black hostas,
What?
and they were so sexy. Yes.
That is sexy.
Yes.
I didn't know.
Yes, we digress. What have you been up to, Amanda?
I got a new job, so I've just sort of been getting acquainted with this new position. I'm working for a licensed producer that's local here in Ontario, and so I've been spending a lot of time in Simcoe County and Muskoka, Grey County, Bruce County, York Region.
Well, you get to spend your
Durham.
day visiting bud tenders.
It is the most awesome experience. The passion that I had for connecting with customers and with my colleagues when I worked in dispensaries has easily transitioned into making those same kind of connections with bud tenders. Bud tenders are my favorite people. They are all super chills. Everybody brings something different to the table, whether it's your knowledge or your experience or your passion. Everybody's got something, and everybody who's working in the industry is working in the industry because they enjoy the industry.
Because they chose to.
Right, not because it's such an awesome moneymaker or because
They fell into it.
Exactly, or it's a cushy job or, none of that is applicable in this industry.
That's really
It
cool.
really comes from passion. So
That's really cool.
yeah. So, I've just been getting ready for 420 and trying to get ready to support my stores. And
I guess
for
that
their
is a
big
huge
420.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Last year, and it's crazy, this is our second
I know,
420
right?
show.
I know.
I had
So
to look
crazy.
back and I'm like, what season was that? Ooh, I
That's
feel so
it.
privileged.
Yeah.
Last year, I think that was one of my favorite shows to research and record.
Yes, I would agree. I learned so much last year about, we talked about the term 420 and the history of the term, right?
Yes.
And if you haven't yeah.
Jinx, you can't talk to the rest of the show.
Dang
so,
it.
it's my show now. If you haven't listened to the show last year, it was actually episode 21, but we labeled it episode 420. So if you want to find it, it's between 19 and 21. It's in there.
It's in there.
It's in there.
Somewhere in there.
And we go through the wonderful history of the term 420, and it is a fabulous story. So if you haven't listened and if you don't know that story...
Oh, yeah, definitely go back and listen. It's fab.
I said in that episode, and I stand by it, it would be such a great Stand By Me-esque coming-of-age... film. The film, yeah, it was 1971. The culture, there'd be so much to say. I'm surprised that hasn't been made into a movie.
Are we currently writing the manuscript now for 420? The film?
I just put a copyright on it right now.
Yeah, right there. Boom.
420 is mine.
Oh. Love it.
You know, these things take certain moments in history where the right people or the wrong people are at the right place at the right time. So what are we going to talk about today in regards to 420?
Yeah, so like we were saying back in that previous episode, like 420 was really started in like the 70s, right?
1971.
1971, exactly. So we're going further back in history this time. We're going to go back to the 30s.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Long time ago. I have nothing to relate to it. But in the 30s, there was a couple of big things that were happening, right? Like it was a big decade with alcohol coming out of prohibition, cannabis going into prohibition, and the world starting to fight itself.
Yes.
Right? Like that was sort of what was going on in the 30s, right?
Yep, very much so. So I'm just going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
With my buddy Harry Anslinger.
Oh, yes.
What a perfect name, Harry. Harry was a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he was kind of a dick.
Yeah, he was known as a dick amongst dicks.
He was, yeah.
The dickiest of dicks.
Weren't we saying that he was like super racist in a time where racism was
the norm?
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to be like racism is normal.
Racists saw him as racist.
Right. Like, yes, when the racists see you as more racist than themselves, you got problems.
So if you don't know about good old Harry Anslinger, he was a commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
In America, in the United States.
Yeah, I'm going to do an American history lesson here, and I'm not going to get it all right, but I'm going to get the gist of it right, and I did go down a rabbit hole of Wikipedia, Strange History, the History Channel, all those things. So there's me citing my
sources.
Yes, okay. So Harry gets this job in 1930.
Okay.
He's doing it. He's great at hating things. He's perfect for the job. Right now, they're hating on alcohol.
Right.
Prohibition of alcohol is still going. It doesn't end until 1933. Now, Harry has this job, but he's got nothing to rally against.
Right.
So he turns his focus onto cannabis. And it's ripe for the times. There's a huge influx of immigrants into the U.S. It's a huge time of change. You've got music changing. You've got culture changing. You've got cultures from all over the world influencing America. Harry didn't like.
No.
Harry didn't like anybody who wasn't a white man.
Right? Which, I'm sorry, I'm going to digress this conversation because in America, like everybody in America, if you are not a indigenous person, like you immigrated into North America.
Yeah, but it's always different for the... I hate all of this. Ugh. That's why I love that his name's Harry.
Anyway.
So 1933, he starts up this reefer madness idea, this idea that, cannabis is coming over from other places like Mexico specifically, and these people are going to taint our culture. They're going to rape our women. They're going, you don't know what's going to happen with marijuana. You might become violent. Your inhibitions are down. Insanity. In fucking sanity. You're going to hear me move paper because
she's got so many notes.
I've got quotes. This is a Harry quote. A Harry quote. No one knows when he places a marijuana cigarette to his lips whether he will become a joyous reveler in a musical heaven, a mad insensate, or a calm philosopher, or a murderer. This is sort of what he was promoting.
Yeah.
And it actually took hold. And you've got these things that happen in time. So we had 1933, he's really getting this going. In 1936, a cult classic movie comes out. What's it called, Amanda?
Reefer Madness!
A fabulous, insane, over-the-top film that didn't really do well in its time, but because it's so camp, it has really lived through time. And it was actually financed by a church group, just side note.
Really?
Yes.
Yo, the church, honestly, whole nother episode. I'm not getting into it today. But we were saying, like, these things in history had, like, a rippling effect, right? The fear of cannabis coming into the country, like, it was already bloody here, right? Like, cannabis is not a foreign or an invasive species. It grows in North America. It grows here.
Pre-reefer madness, before the 1930s...
It was medicine.
And it was called cannabis.
Right.
It was rebranded by the government, and Harry's initiative to, his first war on drugs, he called it the real public enemy #1.
Which is ridiculous.
I know.
But, I mean...
Well, he held the job for 32 years until 1962. Like under 5 presidents or something.
Wow.
So he was really good at being an ass. He was a hairy dick ass.
He was a hairy ass, eh? I bet he had one too. But yeah, like, and I guess that just speaks to how he must have been a very good salesman or a very good speaker to have been able to sort of pull the wool over the eyes of 5 presidents above him to keep this momentum going.
He was getting the job done, and his war on drugs made a lot of money for the government. So what he was doing was great for the government, and we'll get into how terrible it was for the social fabric of America.
Yeah.
But he racialized the word marijuana. It was called cannabis, and and they started calling it marijuana because that associated it with Mexican immigrants.
That's right. It really drove home the exoticness,
the
right?
Us and them, and our culture's going to be eroded.
And I mean, the word marijuana, when you write it out, it doesn't sound the way that it's spelled and all of those things. And, like, those are, like, intimidating words. Like, if you can imagine your grandparents in the 30s and this, like, new word comes out and they're like, oh, what is this?
And they would pronounce it marijuana.
Marijuana, right? Or marijuana.
Yeah.
Or,
which is why the American government took it upon themselves to fucking change the fucking spelling of it.
That's right.
Which is, like, just
insane. Absolutely insane.
We're just going to change the spelling of your Spanish word because our white lips can't wrap themselves fucking around it.
Right.
The weaponization of a word.
That's exactly what it was. It was weaponizing a plant that for eons had been considered a healing medicine. It's plant medicine, right?
Basically, to create division and racialized hatred.
Yeah, to turn your white nationalists against your newcomers into the country, right? Yeah. I mean, when people came to America, they wouldn't have had much. Right? Like, you wouldn't have had a lot of money, time, energy, places to go, but you could bring your plant with you.
Yeah.
Right? And
your medicines and your culture and all these wonderful things. He hated culture, basically. Harry would have been the worst fucking dinner guest ever.
Oh, my gosh.
I was thinking, what if he was my father-in-law? That wouldn't have worked out well.
That would not have worked out well at all. Oh, the conversations over dinner.
But, I mean, like you just said, there's a ripple effect. So then, 1937, cannabis starts to be taxed.
Yep.
We go forward a few years. We start the prison industrial complex.
Yes. Well, okay, so for our Canadian friends, because we're Canadian, we don't have, like, a privatized...
For-profit prison system.
For-profit prison system here, but in America they do. So the more people you put in those prisons, the more the prison gets paid.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous.
Yes.
But so targeting Black and Latino people and sort of grouping them all together as, I hate the word marijuana, as marijuana users, taking that, you can you can basically arrest them with no cause.
Yes.
And then stick them in jail.
And they were targeted completely. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, you haven't been around. But the amount of arrests and people put into the jail system for profit was so heavily sided on people of color.
Yeah.
And people, white people seem to be immune to this. And it's disgusting.
It is.
There are states where they have to have a certain percentage of beds filled, or the state has to pay back money for those empty beds.
What?
Don't get me fucking started.
Oh, my goodness.
I could do an entire podcast. I mean, it's a rabbit hole. And this whole thing was a rabbit hole. I mean, Harry was in the right place at the right time to create this awful thing that has rippled out throughout time. You end up in 1950s with the Boggs Act, where there's mandatory minimum sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
Fill up those jails, create a division, us and them. I read the statistic, and I'm worried about statistics.
I was going to say, you had a really cool thing about the world population.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't triple check this, but I like it. The U.S. is approximately 4% of the world's population.
Okay.
But has 25% of the world's incarcerated people.
That's insane.
Yes. And that directly, you can...
And how many of those people are Black and Latino?
The percentage is insane. I think it was like, I wish I had this down, but it was like a Black person was 8 times more likely than a white to be arrested for marijuana. Again, we're saying that word because we have to. And Latinos were like 10 times more.
Yeah.
It was a staggering statistic.
It's insane.
And this reverberates through history and ruins families, ruins communities, and makes the government a fucking shitload of money.
That's right. And
On every level.
Yeah. It's awful.
And just things coming at the right time, like that movie Reefer Madness, Harry not having alcohol to fight against.
Right.
All those things.
Could you imagine if he had have turned his energy from alcohol to, like, protecting the population against, like, this new legal drug that called alcohol?
And teaching the public about that.
How to be responsible, how to not, like, when cars started being mass-produced, like, why was Harry Anslinger not being like, hey, guys, just before y'all pop into your new,
He wasn't
Fords.
hugged enough as a child, that's why.
I guess.
Fuck.
But, I don't know. I found one quote by Harry Anslinger that...
I couldn't bring myself to read.
I'm going to really struggle with this, but I'm going to use all the words in the quote, all right? So, he said... There are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the U.S., and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz and swing, result from marijuana use. This marijuana causes white women to seek relations with Negroes, entertainers, and anyone else.
Anyone. We're just dropping our pants.
We're just dropping our pants. Being like, ooh... Smoke a joint, have sex. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's such vitriol.
Right?
Which is a good segue, because
And I do want to just, like, outright apologize to any of our listeners, every single one of you, for that terrible lange.
Sometimes we have to acknowledge our history for
what it is.
It was. And this guy was, cut out of a cloth.
The fact that he thought that jazz music and swing music came out of cannabis use?
It was the devil. The devil made them do it.
The devil made them do it. Like, I don't know, jazz music is amazing. Swing music, oh my goodness, I was born in the wrong era.
But these are from different cultures.
That's right.
Right? They're coming from that, 1920s. Doo-loo-loo-loo-loo. And he particularly hated jazz. He said... I love how you can do a, quote, straight face, but I gotta do it in a voice. This is what he has to say about the jazz musicians. Marijuana gave them the ability to play at a furious speed, impossible for one in a normal state. Dun, dun, dun.
Right? Like, sorry, just because you have
cocaine, baby.
Right?
That's
exactly.
Cocaine.
And just because you can't make music that is good and tempoed and, like, all of the things that make music good doesn't mean
He believed weed gave jazz players actual superpowers, and that is a quote, which is insane. His wife probably enjoyed it, and that's why he didn't enjoy it. He actually had Billie Holiday. He really had a hate-in for her.
Yeah,
because she'd had a lot of anti-racist sentiment in her music. She was an outspoken woman. She was everything he hated. She wasn't
white.
She wasn't white. She liked to have fun.
Yep.
He hated her, and he actually had her arrested for possession while on her deathbed.
Like in hospital?
In hospital. I read in several places, Wikipedia, Strange History, or Weird History, whatever it's called, in hospital. And she really fought back against him, and she had a lot to say about him. When it came to white celebrities of the time, like Judy Garland, who was addicted to heroin, he had no problem with that. He gave her some like clean lifestyle advice, but never pursued her because she was a beautiful white woman.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's disgusting. Now, death is part of life.
Yeah.
And sometimes when somebody is awful, and I hate to be this person to put this energy out, but it is nice to hear. He had a nice long life. He lived into his 80s.
Okay.
But just to be complete ironicness of life.
I feel like this is karma coming back for him.
He died addicted to morphine. The man spent his life fighting drugs, and it sounds like he really could have used cannabis.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, he went completely blind.
Oh, yeah. He had glaucoma and all that kind of stuff.
He had an enlarged prostate, couldn't wish it on a better hairy
you should have shoved
prostate.
some up his... on his hairy prostate.
I know I'm being mean. Don't speak ill of the death unless they're hairy. He had angina. And at one point, just shortly after he retired, he went completely insanely paranoid and believed that, addiction and mental illness was like the common cold that you could catch, and
like it was a communicable disease?
Yeah.
Like you sneeze on me and now I have dementia?
A woman did marry him, and he did have a family, but it sounds like he died a horrible, blind, prostate-ish death.
Wow.
Yeah, but he had a long go at it, and him being in that spot at that time with everything that was going on in history created the racialization, the xenophobia around cannabis and the language around cannabis that made the need for 420 40 years later necessary. The hidden language. Crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. I do like that karma's a bitch and will come for you.
I hate being that person, but sometimes you're like, yeah, that was done right. Now, again, I'm trying to find some notes because when you're researching something, you come across things you don't expect to.
This is true. This is true.
If you've watched Reefer Madness and you need a new take on Reefer Madness, there was a movie that came out in 2005. Who knew it? Andy Finkman was the director. It was called Reefer Madness, the movie musical.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I need to be stoned to watch that.
Definitely. It's like almost 2 hours. But it's got some big names in it.
Who's in it?
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell?
Yeah, she's like the main Reefer girl. And there's dancing and there's stage. It's over the fucking top.
Elsa? Elsa from Frozen was the star of Reefer Madness?
That's how she got the Elsa role.
What?
Yes, also a musical.
Yo, props out to...
They do full on. It's over the top wonderful. And it is a response. It is supposed to be a satire.
Okay.
Kristen Bell, Christian Campbell, Alan Cumming, Neve Campbell.
Neve Campbell?
And Anna Gastinger.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I never know anybody, but I'm like, I know 3 of those names. Yeah. And that was like 17 years ago, 2005, 2015, a bunch of years ago, 2005. But you can find it on Prime.
Oh, really? Oh, I totally know what I'm watching tonight.
Yeah. But how has a movie of 420 not been made, and there's been 2 Reefer Madnesses,
Unless
one of them being a musical dance with Christian Bell.
There is no way that nobody has made a 420 movie. There has to. Hold on, we have the internet.
Well, I did look at it last year. I mentioned there was a talk of a documentary, but one of the 5 guys from the Waldos wasn't into it and wasn't signing off on it. So I think there was something that's been holding it up on a personal level, because they would need all 5 guys' permission.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just did a quick Google search here. So there's a bunch of movies about 420.
Yes, there's documentaries, but not like a Stand By Me, like...
Yeah.
Grateful Dead. There's so much.
So much.
Yes, documentaries, yes. That's where I did my research for last year.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, okay, so let's just circle this back to the fact that this is the beginning of season 4, because we've got some freaking dope shit happening this year. No pun intended. What do we got? We got something starting today, don't we? Well,
we're going to pack this season with super duper giveaways.
Yes.
Because we didn't do any last year.
I know. I felt so bad that we did last season. Yeah.
It just, we were really upping our game, and now our game is upped, and we've leveled up, and we can do a great podcast.
That's right.
And do some great giveaways.
Leveling up.
Oh, my God. And we are focusing this season on innovation.
Yes.
And innovative products.
That's right. And innovative people.
Yes.
Right?
You need innovative people to create innovative products.
That's it.
Our first giveaway is a fabulous giveaway. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it isn't necessarily an innovation, but it is an innovation.
It is.
It is a beautiful cannabis stash box called the Black Box Bundle. And it is so beautiful, you can leave it on your coffee table.
Oh, yeah.
And have no fear.
Nope.
It's wonderful. We always advocate...
100%.
Lock
it up. Just lock it up, right? You don't want to be the person who ends up having to explain something, to somebody else.
Yeah, or if you have a roommate, you don't have to worry about them.
Exactly.
Just don't make your code 420.
Yes, good.
Which I said to Amanda, and she's like, well, that is my code. I'm like, yeah, you and everybody with a stash lockbox.
Right.
But this beautiful box, it's not just a box, it's a black, beautiful box.
But it's like
comes full of everything you could ever want.
Yeah. It's got that tray, which I love the fact that it's magnetic to the top of the box.
Yeah, everything has its spot in the black box.
Perfectly organized.
Yes.
Perfect.
Gorgeous grinder. Huge quality.
That grind, and it's heavy.
Yes.
Right?
It's got all the screens. Lovely, fun, psychedelic vape pen.
Yes, it's got that rainbowy...
2 packs of premium rolling papers, filter tips. There's a gorgeous stash jar. Like Amanda said, the rolling tray. And the rolling tray and the papers are all by a really cool company that's designed in Canada called Kushstar Papers. So we're really excited. Their Instagram handle is at the Black Box Edition. That will be in the show notes.
Definitely.
How are we going to run this giveaway, Amanda?
All right. So this is going to run, for listeners, send us an email. We'll give you 10 entries.
Yeah.
Okay? Just send us an email. Be like, yo, put me in the Black Box giveaway.
Yes.
Right? And boom, that's how you enter. But for all of our listeners who are also followers of ours on Instagram, you can get extra entries that way by just going online.
We'll do a post.
Find the post.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Tag 2 friends.
Yep. And like them, like us.
Yeah,
keep it simple.
Follow them, follow us. I'm sure you're already following us.
And we'll run it for a week.
Yeah, we'll run it for a week, and then we can announce our winners, and it'll be fabulous because there is more than one. We have 2, do we not?
Possibly.
I believe we have 2.
We'll see about that. But yes, please enter the giveaway. It's a gorgeous addition to any cannabis lover's repertoire.
Sure is.
Love it. Gorgeous. It's up on my table right now. And nobody would ever suspect a thing.
No.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful box. It's something that I would be proud to have on my coffee table, or, I keep mine in my office, which is also my laundry room. Shh. And I'm never afraid to have people, see it. It's beautiful.
I'm so excited for this season.
I'm so stoked for this season. It's going to be fabulous.
Yeah.
We got such cool innovators, and we're going to be featuring products on almost every episode after this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
basically have the entire season planned out, which is exciting. We've never been at this position at the beginning of a season.
I know, it's
we
usually
have all
midway.
our guests planned out. We know the trajectory. We're not going to tell you. We got to keep some things hidden.
That's it.
We can't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm forgetting to say something, but I do want to go back and just reiterate. If you haven't listened to episode 420, which is actually 21, or something like that, go check it out, because it would actually be perfect if you listen to this episode about the 30s, and then you'd find out, well, why was 420 and what happened in the 70s.
That's right.
Because that also was a part of the ripple of this. If Harry hadn't been such an asshole, it would have been cannabis all along.
Yeah.
Marijuana wouldn't be a thing.
Wouldn't be a thing.
The word reefer wouldn't be a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
All the negativity around cannabis just never would have existed.
Think about how advanced we would be in medicine.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we just lost.
Right. We lost 100 years of finding out what this plant on in the medical world, what it can do for us, right?
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, the U.S. government patented THC as a synthetic THC, right? Which is, so they knew, and they still weren't going to move on it.
In the early 1900s, before this, they were using it all the time in childbirth, glaucoma.
Exactly.
Like, we went back so fucking far.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I hope that you've all learned something today.
I hope so. I know I did doing the research for this.
Yes, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to start putting a line and connecting things.
Yes.
Like, last year I didn't know really the history of 420, but I also didn't know, what led up to needing that movement.
That's right.
And there is a, over many hundred years history on the plant. So great to be a part of it.
Isn't it?
Yay! I think, I could stay all day because I miss being in the hotbox, but I think it's time for us to step away.
Take a toke.
And go be moms. If you've enjoyed today's episode, you can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Of course, tell all your friends. Enter our Black Box giveaway. Send us some love. Oh, before we go, send us some love. We got some love from Amber in Ottawa. Awesome woman. Sent us just a sweet note on Instagram.
Right, made my heart glow.
Oh, and just before we stepped into the hot box, the cannabis queen, who is at Lady Raising Grams 2.0, sent us a story that was like multiple stories about how wonderful we are. So thank you for giving us that energy that keeps us coming back.
That's it.
Season 4, 420. Happy 420 Eves. I don't know if I said it. Tell your friends, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah. Tell your bud tenders, too.
Mm-hmm.
Get them on us. Bye, ladies.
Stay high, ladies.